Hello, hello. Thank you for being here and clicking on our faces. Today, this month, of course, we're talking about a brand new book. Um, and for the month of November, you saw from the thumbnail, we are talking about Camilla. So, this wasn't my pick for this month. This was actually E's pick. So, before we get into our thoughts, I wanted to pull up a little bit of synopsis about the book. So you can pause to read, but long and short of it is Camilla, written by Sheridan Le Fanu, is a book, a Victorian era lesbian vampire. That's basically what it's about, guys. It was it was written several years before Bram Stoker's Dracula. It looks like here, did I write down exactly? I think it's 25 years or something along those lines. Um, and it inspired a lot of work after it. So, E, why don't you tell us a little bit as to why you decided to pick this book?
Yes, so I have been hearing about this book for, I want to say like a year now, just behind seeing trailers for a movie that came out based on this book in I think 2020. So it's kind of just been lingering in the back of my mind for a while. And I haven't watched the movie yet. I wanted to read the book first for sure. And yeah, I'm not usually into vampires, but I do like something a little spookier. I thought the story predating Dracula was pretty cool, and I wanted to see kind of what vampire lore and kind of pop culture vampire concepts were derived from this story. I also really loved the idea of, obviously a female villain, and just the idea of an alluring female vampire who it kind of embodies the idea of like the Black Widow, kind of, which I really am into that trope. So I just thought it was cool, and I had to see what it was about.
All right. So your thoughts on the book, since because this was a short story. We're doing 2 short stories this month, guys. So this was the first of 2. Really digestible, by the way. I added the link to the book if you'd like to listen along on my post on YouTube. But it's really digestible, only like 2.5 hours or so. But thoughts on the 2.5 hours that you
Okay. So yes, to the digestibleness, I really needed a break from the kind of, I don't want to say heavy reading we've been doing, but I did need something that was a little easier for the month after we finished Frankenstein. And it was funny because I will say stylistically, this felt very similar to Frankenstein, just because it used that same Victorian English style that we were talking about. And it while it is very song-like and lyrical, stylistically, it can be really heavy. And thankfully, I do have a pretty broad vocabulary, so some of the things that words that he's using to describe different things, I am just able to index my brain for what he is talking about. Like nice. At some point, he describes how the main character avoids questions about her past. And he's like, she's parrying through any questions I have about her, and it's just like parrying. Oh, like fencing. So she's like with her, like using her words like to block. You know what I mean? So it's just like a lot of instances like that. A lot of metaphors, similes, using words that you just don't come by anymore in modern writing. Which there's an arena for that, and there's a time, and that's great. but I did need a break from that, and to have picked this out was
Yeah, this is your pick.
ironic to have picked this one after that. What did I think of the book? I think that the story was pretty cool. Like I said, it really did embody a lot of the ideas that I thought it was going to bring, which is kind of a Black Widow esque, using sensualism to lure in her prey. Um, it wasn't that explicit, which I thought was okay. Um, just regarding her relationship with the main character,
Okay.
Laura. Um, but there, I feel like there was just enough to give us a picture of how the main antagonist does her dirty deed.
Hmm.
With that, there were some. I did have to take some issues.
Okay.
And
So spoiler free though. I
yeah,
don't know. It's no books.
I'll get into that a little later. I did
Okay.
take some issue with a few characters,
Ooh.
really
Okay.
one or two, and I'm ready to rate.
Ooh.
Let's
Okay.
let's go. I'm
So
ready to
on a
rate
scale of 1 to 5, 5 being
one
the
to
best,
five.
one being
Yeah,
absolute.
yeah. Okay, 1 to 5. I'm gonna give this. I'm. This is, I hate to do this. I'm gonna give this like a 1.8. I think this
Ooh,
is my lowest.
are you
This
serious?
might be my lowest so far. And I know it's mostly because of my bias against this writing style right
Okay.
now. Like
Uh-huh.
if I go back and read it at a different time, maybe it'll be higher.
Okay.
But I'm gonna have to go with a 1.8 for now. And I'll get into
One.
my reasoning. 1.8.
Oh my God.
Walker, 1.8.
This is the lowest. Yeah, I think this is the lowest you've ever given a book, which is
It
crazy
is.
because we've
I
read
know.
scores before.
I'm kind of the Paula Abdul of this. I love books and I love stories and writing and all that, but I think right now I'm just over it. I have to go 1.8.
So that's so funny because we have completely different thoughts of the book. So it's
Really?
yes. A couple non-spoiler thoughts. I enjoyed the writing style. I felt as if this author, um, the way he was describing things, though flowery and stuff in that same Victorian era English, was a lot more digestible than it was in Frankenstein. And I feel like he was more um I was more engrossed into this story than I was in Frankenstein. And it made me wonder how Frankenstein got so much more popular than this book, when in my opinion, this is the better written book. And the main characters, or Camilla and Laura, to me, they were given very much like Jennifer's Body. I don't know if you've seen that movie.
Yeah.
And I thought for the time period, it was very scandalous. It was like, oh, I can clearly see in my 2025 eyes what the relationship is here. And knowing that this was written in the time that it was, I'm sure it was probably so scandalous at the time. So maybe that has something to do with why it seems to be lesser known than, Frankenstein. Because again, I even though this was a shorter book, so that probably had something to do with it as well. I was more this book went a lot faster outside of the 2 hour run period, okay. But chapter to chapter, I feel like I was more entertained and engrossed with this as opposed to Frankenstein. Now, I'll save some stuff for the spoiler section, but overall, I enjoyed the book. I enjoyed it more than Frankenstein, so I'm going to give it a higher rating. I'm going to give this one a 3 star. 3 star.
Oh, wow. Wait.
Uh-huh.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's not. I don't think it's that bad. I actually really enjoyed it. Hey, Bugs, what's going on? What's going on?
Yeah,
Um,
I think I'm just a little biased right now, maybe.
yeah, you got the hatred in your heart for for it.
Hatred in my heart. It's something like that, girl.
But now we can talk about full spoilers. Um, when they was talking about uh Camilla coming up on her breast and sucking the blood off of her breast. I said, "Oh yeah, they was was some
Yeah,
erotica for Victorian
exactly.
era like writing." I
Yeah,
couldn't believe that was even in there, and like how she was talking, how Laura was describing Camilla in such a sensual way, saying, "Oh, her hair was so thick, I just wanted to like lay under it and be under it," and all of these things she was using to describe Camilla. It was like, okay, these girls are definitely, and Camilla was telling her how much she's, you're mine, and very in the genre of vampirism and stuff like that. Um, it was very sensual for a Victorian era book. I'm just going to say it. I said, okay, this is where we're going. Um,
I mean, yeah, I agree. I don't know. Okay. I will go ahead. Go ahead with your thoughts,
and,
and I'll chime in.
and to learn how, because I don't remember them saying a specific age for these girls. They're young enough to still need a chaperone,
Yeah,
young enough that the mother of Camilla, this person playing her mother, which I don't know what that's about, um, said that she needs someone to stay with. So she left her kid with this other random family, and that is like, and I'm like, I'm guessing that's a common thing back then to have a ward from a stranger. But we learn later in the book that this is like her MO. She finds what seems to be single fathers with daughters and goes after them in order to get closer to the young girls. She's like has a thing for the young ladies. And when when we do get the flashback, or not necessarily a flashback, but the point of view switches from Laura to over to the general, and he's talking about his experience with Malarca, which is
yeah,
like Camilla, like written differently.
yeah. Thank you. You raised one of my issues, but go ahead.
What they just said, what it was the spelling.
There were three different aliases, all with the same letters, and it's like, okay, I have to. It put me being a modern day reader. It
Uh-huh.
definitely pulled me out of it. Like
Okay.
it kind of violently shoved it into scary movie territory, where it's
Okay.
like, girl, all right, it's an anagram. Like, what
Oh,
is this? There's like three. There's Malarca.
uh-huh. This the one I wrote down was Malarca, but yeah, there's probably
I thought it was Malarca, Carmilla, and there was something not Macarla, but there was something that ended with Carla. I was like, what is
see,
this?
but I think about it, like this is an older book, so maybe at the time
Yeah,
of writing, this was like, oh,
this
this
was
I just came
new,
up.
never done before. Carmilla's
Right.
Malarca. It's like,
I'm gonna
okay,
kill him with this.
exactly,
They'll never guess.
exactly.
But I like that. But the only, yeah, the thing that I thought was the weirdest thing for me was how they were just dropping off their kids to like these random men. I'm like, is this what was done? You just, you come up to a guy and say, hey, she's so sick and I don't think she can make the trip. Would you take her for several months while I disappear and take care of business? Like, what?
Yeah, that was also very weird for me. Was different instances of that where it's like the naivete of a lot of these men. The Laura being naive is okay. She's
Yeah.
like a teenage girl. She hasn't been out in the world. She doesn't know, you know, how people can be kind of not only deceptive, but just kind of take advantage of her and seek to take advantage of her,
Hmm.
right? For whatever reason. But the father, you know what I mean? What's the guy who came,
The general.
was that the general? Yeah.
Yeah.
The general coming, talking about, oh, my niece. It's like, okay, guys, put two and two together. Again, I know it's like an older story. It's
Hmm.
hundreds of years old, so I have to give it some grace, but just again, as a modern day reader, like there's just like, okay, guys, like
Yeah.
I need you guys to put things together quicker because I'm not understanding why I didn't want it to be over, but I'm just like, I need more action. You guys,
Okay.
this girl's wasting away. The girls of the village are wasting away.
Mhm.
And you guys are like, what could it be? I don't know. She says she says
Who
it feels like two needles just draining. It's like, girl,
uh-huh.
what you think?
Yeah,
What
what's
do
going
you
on here?
think? Oh God.
But I did like that at the beginning it seemed there was like a shift from the point of views, but also from the beginning we are seeing things through Laura's eyes, and she's completely enamored by Camilla. And when we learned that this is like Camilla's MO, she's done this to other girls. I wish we would have gotten more of how Laura felt about that, finding
Yeah.
out that information. Um, but I thought it was, for the time period, I'm like, okay, this is, I can get down. This is, I'm enjoying this, right? I can follow this. Um, and like I said, it's 2.5 hours. So like, it's
Yeah.
very, that's just something you can put on and
You can't beat that.
you can't beat
You
it.
can't beat that. I will one thing that I will say would have possibly helped me receive this story a little better is if at some point Laura was able to reclaim her power
Okay.
and be a little bit more involved with the destruction of Malarca,
Uh-huh.
because uh, her not Makar. There was another name I
Yes.
wanted to call her Makarla, so whatever
Uh-huh.
Milkara. I don't know, Malarca, Carmilla, whomever. But if she was just a little bit more involved in that and not just such unfortunately, I have to use the word victim in
Uh-huh.
this,
Mhm.
it definitely would have gone down easier for me. And I think again, that's just my leaning toward a more modern story type of story. Because if it were set in today, she definitely would have been the one to destroy Carmilla in the end.
Yeah. For sure. I lie. Jennifer's body. I'm telling you, the Jennifer body
Uh
was there
huh.
because I see it. I see it.
Absolutely, yes.
But those are our thoughts, guys. Please leave a like if you like the video, and join us. What day did we say we're doing this next one? We're doing another short story for this month because this was so digestible. We said, hey, why not throw in another one? And I want to say that it's going to be on the 23rd of November,
That
right?
sounds right.
And it's going to be a story not in the past, but in the future. This is an alternate future kind of universe where people don't die. They come back after death, not as zombies, but as themselves. So they have, in the society, they've created a job for people to off individuals legally through that's insurance approved and all of that, and that's called a dispatcher. So we're following um, this story through the eyes of this one particular dispatcher, and he's trying to solve a mystery. It's written by John Scalzi. It's about 2.5 hours long as well. So join us for that, and I'm excited to hear your thoughts on it, E. And we will see you then on November 23rd, same time, same place. Bye.
See ya.
See ya.